G'day guys, so in this video we're going to look at how to hide your personal items from raiders and or your tribe mates. Now I started this building back at the start of No Tame servers and it's still there now. Most of it was blown up when the C4 buff went through, which is now grossly overpowered versus stone. Now a lot of alpha tribes have come and gone from the area, but only one thing has remained stable, and that's my personal stash. So down this unassuming corridor, where the fert bins were kept. So my tribe mates are now thinking, you scumbag, but that's where I kept all my items. And they're still there now. So now that you know where that is, you can go and find it if you're on the North American Island No Tame server on Xbox. I'll leave it all there as a prize. Here's another one. This is just a forward scouting base that I made up to make and repair the basic items. It's all left open so no one bothers raiding it, but all the materials are hidden under the floor. Anyway, so let's go see how that's done. Like all good things, it's really simple to do. We just have to lower foundation twice. So from a foundation, snap a pillar into the side at the lowest snap point, then one into the center at the lowest snap point. Lay a foundation next to it, 2 levels lower. Now run a mortar and pestle along the edge of the foundation. Keep the edge of the cloth running along the edge of the foundation, so it doesn't stick out. Slap another foundation over the top and that'll hide most of the mortar and pestle, yet it'll still be accessible. To hide that little knob sticking up, you can just slap a wall over the top of it. And there you have it, a completely invisible storage for your items. So it's hidden, but it's also protected. You can't damage that mortar and pestle without first destroying the foundation. Okay, so that's in stone. What happens in metal? We'll go through the same process. Lower foundation 2 levels. Lay a mortar and pestle along the edge. And foundation over the top. So as you can see, metal doesn't conceal things anywhere near as good as what stone does. So let's try again, but this time I'll keep the knob sticking up, close to the edge of the foundation. So I'll click A button, then I'll turn it around and press the trigger to set it down. So with metal it will work, but it has to be in the middle of 2 foundations. You can't have it on the edge. Not if you want it completely concealed. Okay, so that was 2 levels lower, but what if you want to use 3 levels lower, which is how low it has to be to hide a bed? So I'll just lower foundation 3 levels, starting the center with a pillar, go to the edge, then come back into the center, lower snap point all the time. a foundation next to that will be lowered 3 levels. In this case, when you're placing the mortar and pestle down, you have to make sure that cloth is sticking out the edge just slightly, as you'll no longer be able to access it from the top, not with 3 levels difference. Now it's only accessible from the side. So now we have a hidden bed spawn, complete with storage. If that little sliver sticking out concerns you, you can put a ramp over the top, yet still access it. Directly attacking that foundation with C4 will destroy it. Remember, C4 is ridiculously overpowered versus stone now. But that foundation will protect it from indirect hits. The mortar and pestle is undamaged. Now, a mate of mine uses a different method of concealment. So he stashes the mortar and pestles in the top of pillars. So that's almost invisible from the ground. If you check above, it's not quite concealed. You can see the cloth from above, but it's transparent if viewed from underneath. Unfortunately, if you slap anything on top of that pillar, it'll stop you accessing the inventory. We'll have a look at that later. Here's another one. And again, putting a ceiling on top prevents access to the inventory. Not a big concern since single pillars are very common. So now let's have a quick look at stone pillars, which tend to conceal things better. To lay the mortar and pestle, it's much better to use Orbit Cam. Just walk backwards and forwards until it's centered. Then you'll have to press A button, then the trigger to set it down. Don't just try pressing the trigger or you'll jump out of Orbit Cam. So that's a really nice way of quickly hiding some gear. Anyway, so let's see if we can get a ceiling on top of the pillar, but keep it accessible. So I'll place a pillar down, and another pillar half a square away, one level lower, and another one, another half a square away, again a level lower. So it's incrementally lowered 2 levels. Now I'll go into Orbit Cam and place the mortar and pestle on top. I'll build his ceiling across from the lowered pillar. And the ceiling's now attached to that pillar holding the mortar and pestle. Again, that's a common structure. Having a bit of a knob poking out the top of a ceiling happens when you build a pillar down from a ceiling. So now you can't access that mortar and pestle from the bottom, but you can access it from the top. So that changes it up a bit, makes it look a bit different. You don't want everything always looking the same. To place a pillar inside, it's much the same process. Just lower it twice by snapping a pillar in between two foundations. At the lowest snap point, make sure it's at the lowest one. Again at the lowest one in the centre. Place another pillar up. Lay your mortar and pestle on top using the AWPIT gam. Just to make it look like that pillar is reaching up to the roof. So now the top's hidden and it can only be accessible from a jump. Anyway guys, that's it. I hope this video helps you survive a little bit longer and keep your stuff a little bit longer in Ark Survival Evolved. Make sure you go check out my other Ark videos if you haven't already.